Hello, Morongo Basin, and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 Local News for Friday, February 20th, 2026. A man in 29 Palms was arrested for allegedly throwing an axe at an encampment numerous times. On Tuesday at approximately 2:30 p.m., Morongo Basin Sheriff's deputies responded to an encampment of unhoused people near the intersection of Utah Trail and 29 Palms Highway in 29 Palms. Deputies say they received a report that Andrew Normand, 32, repeatedly threw a standard 10-inch axe in the direction of the victim. According to deputies, the victim was known to Normand and did not sustain any injuries. Deputies took Normand into custody at the scene. Andrew Normand was arrested on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon. He is being held at the West Valley Detention Center on $40,000 bail. An alleged unlicensed DUI driver was arrested after a collision injured at least one person in Morongo Valley. On Sunday at around 5:49 a.m., California Highway Patrol officers responded to a collision near the intersection of West Drive and Pioneer Drive in Morongo Valley. County records show they contacted Jonathan Benoit, 22, as part of their investigation. Z107.7 contacted the CHP for additional details regarding this collision. We will update this story if they respond. Benoit was arrested at the scene on charges related to DUI causing bodily injury. The charges indicate that at least two people were injured. It is unknown if Benoit was injured in the collision. Jonathan Benoit was arrested for investigation into DUI with injury and driving without a license. He was arraigned in San Bernardino County Superior Court on Thursday on felony charges. Between an update at this week's Yucca Valley Town Council and an Animal Shelter Committee meeting 2 days later, the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter is still on the forefront of the town's priorities, and it's beginning to show in many ways. Positive numbers, blooming budgets, and burned-out employees. Online news editor Robert Hayden was at both meetings and takes it from here.
It's been more or less a year since the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter became a popular topic at town council meetings. Starting in late winter of last year, animal advocates came out in impressive numbers during the public comment portion of the meetings and pushed for major changes in staffing and operations at the shelter. Some of those early meetings were nearly standing room only and would often erupt in an almost parliament-style chorus of boos and hisses. The bi-weekly town council meetings are a lot more calm now, with a core group of animal shelter advocates still attending and speaking out. There's also a monthly standing committee meeting that was formed to allow a more informal back-and-forth conversation that isn't allowed at Brown Act-regulated town council meetings. The animal shelter was on the agenda at the last town council meeting on Tuesday the 17th, and the recently hired animal care and control manager Cheyenne May presented the town council with some updates. She says that the town has purchased software to help with managing the shelter's intake and adoption records. The shelter is also going to be creating its own Facebook and Instagram accounts for better social media outreach, and a donor recognition program is in the works to highlight past and current residents who have supported the shelter financially. May reports that the shelter's animal control officers are currently enrolled in animal control training through the California Animal Welfare Association, or Cal Animals. She says that the shelter has made significant progress implementing some of the 32 recommendations from the town council, but staffing shortages along with an overcapacity shelter have pushed some of those timelines back.
Continued challenges are affecting these timelines and daily operations, including staffing shortages, which is truly an industry-wide issue, limited availability of professional services in our area, and rescue group capacity constraints for those rescue groups that do help us out. These factors do all continue to impact overall shelter operations.
Despite the staffing challenges and operational upheavals at the shelter in the past year, they report live release rates in 2025 at 75.8% for dogs and 85.1% for cats. That increased attention on the shelter and its mission is coming at an increased cost for taxpayers. Total operating expenses for the shelter's last financial year were around $952,000, with a projected cost this year of $1.2 million. Town manager Curtis Yakima says a good portion of that increase is professional services costs, as well as a shelter that is frequently operating over capacity, resulting in a 40% cost increase in the last 2-year period. At the end of the Animal Shelters Department report at Tuesday's Town Council meeting, there were public comments from a small but dedicated group of residents who more or less show up every meeting. 1 year later, the Town Council meetings rarely reach the numbers they did last spring. The new shelter manager and positive staff reports have done a lot to calm many of the concerns that created those boos and hisses at earlier meetings. But residents like Susan Herring, who have made it a habit to attend the biweekly meetings, want the council to know that the shelter is now permanently on their radar.
And I hope when you don't see an audience here in the future that you think we've gone away, because we are watching and we'll continue to watch. And we will fully support Cheyenne and her wonderful employees. And we look forward to a better shelter. Thank you.
Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Robert Hayden.
A communications site proposed for Bureau of Land Management land in the Morongo Valley area is facing community pushback. A group called Residents Against the Towers, or RATS, is holding a meeting on Sunday to organize community protest against the proposed tower. Announced by BLM officials on February 12th, the project is proposed for an area on the north side of 29 Palms Highway, northeast of Canyon House Road. It will include a communications tower built on 1.2 acres. The developer, Interconnect Towers LLC, is also proposing an access road from Canyon House Road. Interconnect LLC had proposed a tower for BLM land in 2022, closer to the Big Morongo Canyon Preserve on the south side of 29 Palms Highway. Resident opposition led to the project being moved to this new location. The RATS group meets on Sunday at 3 p.m. at Covington Parks Community Center. The BLM is accepting community feedback on the proposed project until March 16th. Tonight, the Booth House in 29 Palms hosts a fundraiser for Palms and Paws Animal Shelter, featuring a performance by Particle Kid, the moniker of songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and visual artist J. Micah Nelson, who also happens to be the youngest son of Willie Nelson. With this performance, just one stop of Particle Kid's tour, reporter Gabriel Hart chatted with him to get deeper insight into his performance, his relationship with animals, and why this fundraiser is so important.
Micah Nelson describes this Particle Kid stripped-down acoustic performance as post-apocalyptic, with little to no electricity of amps, and will feature the analog visual elements as well.
I have all the music running through a little machine I built. It looks like a little birdhouse, but it's just like a speaker with a petri dish of water and a light and a camera. What happens in the water when the music, the vibration goes through it, it creates these mandala fractal patterns on the water, and we project that live. So it's an analog, visual, and sonic experience. And we also mix in, I'm an animator, and my wife Alex and I create visuals, and she'll be blending those things in as well. It's different than my usual shows in that, the drum kit is just my suitcase with a kick pedal, and we're like, it's as if the world ended and we don't have any electricity except for the microphones and it's a different show.
Since his stop on his tour is a fundraiser for a local animal rescue, I asked Micah about his connections to our furry friends.
Our dog Suki is a healer, cattle dog. She's our daughter. She's like so much of our life revolves around her. And we want to find her a friend. Actually, we were actually looking at Palms and Paws and trying to see if while we're out there we might meet a friend for Suki. We're looking for a second dog for her to play with. My partner Alex is very passionate about animal rights, and she's always looking at different ways to support rescues, and she has a whole network of friends that do all kinds of volunteer work for rescues and ways to protect dogs and cats and all animals and give them what they need, and in whatever way she can, whether it's legislative or fundraising or fostering or whatever it is. The fact that it's a benefit for an animal rescue is just totally a bonus. It's in alignment completely with our values.
In addition to fundraising at the door, Micah will also be donating 50% from all the custom handmade posters he made for the show. Also at the merch table will be a sign-up sheet for The Flow, a new artist-owned music streaming social media app of which Micah is a founding board member of. For artists, he says, quote, are sick of the toxicity of Spotify and other data mining companies masquerading as music services, unquote. The Booth House's Palms and Paws benefit featuring Particle Kid opens their doors at 4:30, with desert legend Sean Wheeler at 5:30, Milo Gonzalez at 6:30, and Particle Kid from 7:30 to 9 p.m., with local vendors, live art, wood-fired pizza, local beer and craft cocktails, and a silent art auction. The Booth House is located at 75727 Baseline Road in 29 Palms. Reporting for Z107.7 News, I'm Gabriel Hart.
And finally, from dazzling beetles and industrious native bees to elusive nocturnal moths and resilient desert ants, the Morongo Basin is brimming with insects. You can learn more about our local critters tomorrow when the High Desert Nature Museum presents a lecture from expert entomologist Scott Hecox. Registration is not required, but seating is limited. The event is free and open to all ages. It's tomorrow at 2 p.m. at the High Desert Nature Museum in Yucca Valley. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm News Director Jeff Harmatz.